talk about, like specific parts of the avatar, it's very important to nail that down and always have a references.
Beautiful. Done and dusted. Okay, so where do we begin? Where are we at? Okay. I'll just I'll share with you guys some of the research that I've come across with regards to the people that I've talked to. I've had a lot of people trying to pitch me their stuff. I think I need to dial in my marketing or mine as well. I need to stop the influencer speaker thing because they just want to sell me their programs or their coaching. So
I just say, are you interested in this? Like, do you need services? And they'll say yes or no, because I don't really get on the phone with them unless they need that. But yeah, it is good to switch.
So anyways, but what I did find from a couple of calls is I think that the Ali, you're a little bit concerned about the price point with the thing. Have we worked out like what we're gonna do as far as keeping that, changing that, leaving that?
I personally think that if we can get it to $2,500 a month,
okay,
that's a lot better than $35. I just feel like that's just a lot of money for people to spend on social media management that I don't feel like that they will.
You mean the social media management side of things?
Well, but I'm also talking funnels. Like the funnels, I would like to have like a $4,000 or $5,000 funnel versus an $8,000 funnel.
Absolutely.
Even if we had a $3,000 funnel, that would be good too.
Yeah.
But I think 3 is a good number for a funnel. That's just me.
Okay. So when we're selling this to people, but are we still focusing on, and after, so tomorrow we had a meeting with our coach and we were kind of turned around a little bit because we had a situation arise where we thought, oh, maybe the strategy session isn't giving people what they expect. It's not what they want, and they're not feeling like they get enough value out of that. So maybe we should be pitching the lead gen as our priority, and then putting the strategy session in. But he made it very clear that that the strategy needs to be more of a like, let's work out what your business. So right now our strategy is a presentation of a social media rollout and as well, a content calendar, and it's a lot to do with the social media side of things, but it's almost like it's pushing people. Oh, Allie just disappeared. She'll come back, I'm sure. It's almost like it's pushing people towards the social media management side, which is a lot of time work for us. Like that's actually quite, we have quite a low margin on that. It's a lot of time intensity to roll that out. And there's a lot of places where the customer may not be satisfied. So we want to make sure that the strategy session really focuses on an overall strategy for people. So when we're selling this, we really need to make sure that what they're seeing is a very even keel kind of, presentation of all the different areas that we can help them, which you and I talked about doing. But I think that the focus needs to be less on that social media management side of things and more on, let's diagnose. He used this term, which I love, and I would love to, to fix it. Let's diagnose the leaky bucket. Let's figure out where the holes are in your business, where people are falling through, why you're not where you want to be, and really making that strategy session to say, okay, this is like really doing a deep dive, looking at their business and saying, this is what is missing. This is where, we can help you. So I think that when it comes to selling the strategy session, we need to really focus on it and use those analogies of the doctor and the diagnosis of the problem and figuring out, and like that's what we're doing. Like in that session, we're not going to roll out and give them some sort of a plan that is not taking into account what's happening in their business right now. So we've had a bit of a restructure of that. So Allie, I was just clarifying that we really are going to be spending more time diagnosing and fixing the leaky bucket, or at least finding the holes before we give them anything. So our strategy session is going to be really focused on strategy of their business, very custom and tailored to their situation. With regards to finding and selling and figuring out what it is that they are looking for, I think that when it comes to their biggest, like, the guy that I spoke to that was a coach, he's got a coach, and then he's going to have this really cool business rolling out in January that I'm really excited to promote, help him promote. his biggest thing was that he just does not have, he's an older gentleman. He has got, he's a business coach, but he's more on the mindset. He's more on the strategy behind, you know, how you run a business, how you keep from burning out, like those kinds of things. Like he's a business coach, but he's not out there teaching marketing stuff. Although he does have a marketing background in offline marketing, he's very uncomfortable and unfamiliar with digital marketing. So that is an element for his own business that he's just clueless on. He's absolutely clueless. And he said that he doesn't know where to start with it. And so he really just wouldn't even, like, he actually, when I asked him to kind of validate the price point of our strategy set, he had no idea. He's like, I actually don't know what any of this stuff costs. I don't know whether or not this is good or bad. Like, I don't know what I'd be willing to pay because I don't know what's fair for what you guys are doing. Like, he had no idea about the cost of marketing. So I think that was really just, we need to find those people. Those are the people that we want. We want the people that are, they don't have a clue. They don't want to deal with it. He doesn't want to deal with it. He just wants to pay somebody else. Like, whether or not the price point is or isn't where he wants it to be, we want to find the people that are really looking for somebody to hold their hand or to guide them in a marketing strategy because they just don't know. So what do you think, Allie? Or Tamar, what are your opinions there?
Yeah, go ahead, Tamar.
So yeah, my question was like, if you guide them through, that means that you're providing some kind of coaching for them. If you're doing it for them, it's completely different. So you ladies are providing a service, like done for you service. You're not like coaching them. You're not trying to teach them marketing. You're just like done for you service, and they have options. So these are the services, and let's get this rolling, right?
Sam did suggest that we provide a lower price point option for people who want to do it themselves. And so he basically said for people who really want to, go about doing it themselves, he said you can, we have our Facebook ads guy is connected with this coaching, with the company. And he said they can book in for a session to learn how to do Facebook ads for themselves, like with Vadim. Like, he'll walk them through how to do it. So, he said you can utilize part of what you outsource to us for coaching for them, or you guys can do it with them with regards to whatever element, so maybe it's social media posting, we can do some coaching, but we would charge them for those services. Allie, what did we decide that we're going to give people, I really don't think we should offer coaching as part of the strategy session. I really don't, because it encourages people to think that they need to do it themselves, and we want to sell them on our services, which is done for you. Yeah. But we want to advise them that if they really don't want to take that up, and they really, for whatever reason, look at it and say, no, that's beyond what I want to pay, we want to give them an option to say, okay, well, here's the platform that we use to help you, get your.
I think that's the last option.
Oh yeah, like it's kind of in the back pocket.
You don't mention coaching until you're you're done with them. They know what they're getting with your services, and they're like, well, it's expensive. I have some time to put in that, blah blah blah. And then you say like, okay, then we can give you this as option. But that's the last thing, because you don't want them, to go and you don't put that anywhere on your website, because you don't want people to buy services. They can, self-teaching, whatever. They can find that elsewhere. What they cannot find is the exclusivity and the delivery of the service, right?
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, I would not put that on as an offer. But finally, really, this is super important for your coaches and consultants. So do you have like a specific niche? What kind of coaches or consultants they are? What kind of speakers? Because there is tons of speakers. I don't know, like keto speakers, fitness speakers, coaches, marketing coaches, whatever it is, right? So do you have like a specificity of already like niche down who these people are?
I think we haven't looked that deep into it. However, we need to avoid the business. I think we need to avoid the business coaches. This is the thing. The sales and the business guys, there's a lot of them out there. They still want and are willing to do outsourcing because they don't necessarily want to do it all themselves. However, they're also going to be the ones that are going to poke you a lot more and really
really kind of critique and criticize and look at things with a really critical eye. And perhaps they'll be the kind of person that might be a harder person to deal with on the backside because they think they know it all, which they probably know a lot. And they might be the harder kind of person to release and relinquish.
So what would we say then? Would we say, would we still say business owners and stuff, or would we just?
Do we want to niche into a particular area like life coaches or?
I think life coaches would be good.
I think
because we are all about lifestyle and life, and like I feel like we all three of us really love that, and so does Tamara, and so I mean,
obviously, when we're presenting what we do, we don't need to specify that that it's life coaches that we help. But when we're out there targeting, we target life coaches.
And especially because their story, they're all about their story.
Exactly.
Like they're pull at the heartstrings, make your life better, blah, 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 blah. And that does really well with video and heartstrings and people wanting to
change their life. They're the kind of people that want to do the motivational speaking and
exactly.
like what
now
Jessie,
we are talking.
Yeah. And like what Jessie is, except Jessie does do a little bit of business, but she really is a lot more life coachy than she is business.
Yeah. So maybe that's what we do. We target life coaches. We target
hallelujah
personal.
We got it! Yay!
Coaches. And then
sorry, repeat that, Brie. I kept talking over you.
No, sorry. It was a good moment. That was a breakthrough moment. It was good. I had to keep talking because that's me. Breakthrough. Yay! Let's keep going. So definitely life coaches, transformational coaches. People that are in that space, maybe even change coaches. Like, I met a guy who helps people transition through their changes, like when they're going through career changes and things like that. That's what he coaches people in, like career shifts. So I think that's going to be an easier market. And when we're on LinkedIn and when we're targeting, I think that's going to be a nicer niche to work with. I think those people will be easier and easier to kind of connect with.
Because they're all about relationships. They're all about helping people.
Yes, exactly. And to my opinion here, like the life coaches and so on. So what they're dealing with, what are their problems? Like these transformational coaches, what they're facing every day. Like when they are around, when they start their businesses, how much they pay to educate themselves. How much are their offers, right? So we have to know how much money they're putting out of their pockets, how much they're charging for the coaching.
Yep.
Person. Oh, go ahead, Brie. Were you going to say something, sir?
No, I'm disagreeing.
Oh, I was going to say they're life coaches and they charge, I would say somewhere around $1,000 a month. I don't know what that breaks down to like hourly, but I would say like $1,000 a month because I haven't worked with a ton of them, but the few that I do know, that's pretty standard is $1,000 a month. And the problem with life coaches though is they usually do like one-on-one coaching, so they only have a limited amount of slots, and then some of them go into memberships and courses and that kind of thing. So to help them, that kind of thing. But that would be a good thing to help with funnels because that would help them with their courses and their memberships.
And so here we cannot select any place for guessing because how much they earn, their earning potential will reflect how much they will pay for the services. And how we can turn that offer into like unresistible, because if you show them the maths after the, you see the strategy, you see where this is going and where, like potentially this can help you do this and this can help you do this. They're like, they're, like their wheels are spinning now. They know that something good is happening for them. Because if you don't know where they're losing money, like Brie said earlier, where the holes in the buckets and how much they are currently spending on, like social media, how much time they're spending, do they have the process of automatization, how they're putting their services outside, how they're generating leads, where is the problem with them, right? If we don't know all of these problems, it's not easy to sell the service. Right. So that's why the market research is really, really critical when it comes to the market. And we are not married to the niche, right? You go, you find these life coaches, you try for a couple of weeks, you send those outreaches to book strategy calls and to see what's happening in their lives. If not else, you take the marketing research, right? But from there, you have like something consistent, like critical to work from. And to reverse engineer and see like, hey, my offer, it's underpriced, or my offer for this price, I can add, like stock more value and I can make it more irresistible.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that makes sense, girls, but how I see it, I put myself in the shoes of the client, right? And if someone comes to me and talks to me for things that are not related to my problems, I'm not open to listening, right? But let's say I have a toothache and someone comes to me and says like, hey, like I can fix your tooth without going to the dentist and you will never have problems with it. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. Okay, just do what you have to do. I don't want to move from here, right? So we have to find that, like very sweet spot where they would spend money, and like we spend with AMP, right? Because we wanted that cash, we wanted that high commissions. And we had a crazy market that was looking for a solution because they never made money on online, right? So we have to find that sweet spot for this niche where we can connect the dots, and we're presenting whatever you tell them. Like if it's 10,000, if their pain is bigger than that, they're like, oh, whatever, let's do this.
And so maybe it's you have two different levels. See, and that's, or maybe three, but I think that I do want to be able to cater not to the broke people. They have to be making money. They have to know how to manage their money. But I think that Jessie is like on the lower end of the middle. Like she's like the lowest I'd want to go.
What's that like in terms of money?
Hers is like probably, my guess is around $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Right now, she hasn't actually told me exactly how much she's making, but I guess I could ask her how much she's making.
Yeah, that's very critical, Alison. Yeah, that's very, very critical point of, of you understanding the client.
Yeah.
Gotta ask that.
So I'll ask her how much she's making per month. Actually, I'm gonna do it really quickly right now because I'm gonna forget.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask her really quickly, and then that will help us. But I think she's the lowest end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that helps me know kind of like where. So have you looked up any of her stuff? Have you seen any of her stuff?
I haven't. I haven't looked a lot into that.
So go to Jessie Harris Bouton or whatever and look her up on Facebook, and she has lots of stuff on there. So she's
a life coach.
Yeah, she's a life and business coach.
Right.
That's how she brands herself.
Yeah,
Jessie Harris Bouton. Here, let me
Bouton.
Bouton. Let me share my screen really fast.
Used to be a race car driver.
Yep, she was a race car driver, and she's due any day now. Not any day. She's due in January, I think.
Okay.
So I came across a girl who obviously my VA connected with and loved a few of her posts online, and she's somebody who's she's out there selling lead gen, right? Get 1 to 5 warm leads weekly. But when I look at her posts, and she sent me a message, she's like, so Bree, I want to know who you're obviously kicking butt as a coach. I want to know, who do you typically coach? And I was like, well, I don't really coach, but, I have a digital marketing agency. And then I went through and I looked at her posts, and she actually has this company called Funnel Founders. And she is interesting talking about, like, she's kind of against social media marketing, email marketing, SEO, like outsourcing. She's basically saying, you don't need to look at the cost. You don't need to look at advertising agencies. It's expensive, and we working with us, you can get leads every single week for free. So I kind of want to know, I did ask her what her business model was and what she's doing. She has something called the client capture system. Now, she's only a new connection. I've only just connected with her. She's talking about how she is, able to provide people with leads without all of that agency stuff, without the funnel, without the lead gen. So I want to know what she's doing because, yet again, she's going to be making money somewhere. But it was interesting to kind of just see a different perspective on, she has a different way of getting leads, but she won't tell you what it is, obviously. So yeah, so I don't know why I brought that up, but she's obviously got some sort of an agency out there that might be worthwhile doing some homework on and seeing what other things people might be seeing and what they might be looking at and what the shiny object is. Because for me as a coach, if I saw that and I saw some sort of an advertisement for don't get an advertising agency, don't go and get a digital marketing agency, they're too expensive, I've got a better solution, I would be like, yeah, okay, what is that solution? Therefore, I want to look at what that solution is and find the holes in that solution and say, look, people are telling you that you don't need to do this and that you don't need our services, but this is why our offer is a better offer than what they're offering, So we need to kind of try to figure out what other things are out there that people are being lured by. What other shiny things are they seeing that ours is going to look dull compared to theirs,
That's great points. Spy your competition, but never bring it into a conversation with them. Never tell them like, hey, did they have something like this? And you would be lured like that. No. You want to have that in your arsenal, but never use it as a marketing, right? Because it can backfire. But at the same time,
it's interesting that she's doing that. She's exactly doing that. She's like, don't get an agency. Don't do this. They're too expensive. And I'm like, what happens if someday, girl, you start doing an agency? Like, you can't say,
Yeah, but she thinks, for her, it will work because everybody knows that the agency can provide services, but they don't know the other solution, right? So now they're curious. And to me, that's organic traffic and attraction marketing. I don't know. I don't know this girl. So, Ali, yeah. Sorry.
Unfortunately, she has no engagement on her post, like 0. I'm the only one that loved them for a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, poor Poppet. She probably needs some lead gen.
She needs some help, yeah. Ali, my question to you was what is the higher limit? So the lowest limit they make per month, it's like 1,000, 2,000.
I'd say probably 2,000 a month.
Right?
I would say it needs to be at least 2,000 a month because then they can break even.
Yeah.
So I would say 2,000 a month is the lowest, and that would be simply they're needing to scale. Right now, if they spent money, they would spend all their profit, and they would, but we would get them more leads, which then would bump their thing up from 2,000 a month to then 5,000 a month. So then it would, that's theoretically how it works, right? So I would say the minimum that they have to be making in their business per month is 2,000 a month, which means, that's what I think.
See, whereas I would look at it and I would say 4. I would say double. I want them to at least be in profit. Like, I don't want them to be spending every penny that they make on advertising.
So let's do 4 then. Let's say 4 is the lowest.
Yeah.
Because then they double. So then, that makes a lot more sense. So we'll say 4.
Does that make sense to you, Tamara? Would you suggest that they need more than that?
Well, if they even at 2K, they at least have something to invest into, further growth of their business. Who wouldn't, right? So at this level, they're already doing something, and you have to be clear on what they're doing. Have a total inventory of what, that's the market research, what they do to project leads, right? Yeah. So that's really taking inventory of what they're doing currently. For example, if we take a coach, like life coach, that they're at 4K, so they have managed to get 4 clients. What did they do to get those 4 clients? Is it outreach? Is it posting? Is it attraction marketing? Is it recommendation? How did they get those posts, right? Those 4 clients.
Are you asking me, or are you going to ask them that?
That's ask to know before we even talk to them, because if I know, of course, in the conversation I can ask that to get clarity. And that show them that I care. about their methods of acquisition of clients. But before we even go there, when we land on someone's profile, we know how they're generating their leads, right? If they have, like the other girl, 2 likes on their page, it's not attraction marketing, it's not social media engagement. What is it, right? Do they have some kind of, yeah. So these kind of coaches, either they have like outreaches, either they have recommendations because they have like social networks they go and participate, or they have like some kind of organizations where they go, plug in, and they create this network of people who are going to events, and then create this kind of movement. It could be external as well, but it's our job to understand that.
I agree.
So that would be another thing where we have to like really understand the ways how they generate leads, and then analyze, like what a person, who is a good client for you. Like, for example, what kind of coach would be ideal client? We figured out how much they make per month, or at least, like to pay for advertising. But then what would be ideal for you to spend, like time and energy on this person, because you are going to work with this person. And yeah.
Right. I'm thinking somebody like ourselves, like people that care about other people, and they want to make an impact and they want to make an income, the typical thing. But they have kids, or they have family, or maybe they don't have kids, but they have family, or they have really good friends or something, where they feel like they're making the money and they're doing it, but they're exhausted and they're tired and they're burnt out, and they know that they have this heart still, that they still want to keep going because they know that they need to, but they would like an easier way and a better way to be able to get traffic, help people on a bigger scale without having to necessarily leave their family all the time. But they like speaking. So being able to speak on a digital stage, so to speak. So I don't think we were too far off from that. I just think maybe we needed to shift from specifically business coaches to more inspirational coaches, like life coaches.
Life coaches, transformation coaches, mindset coaches.
Mindset
what
coaches.
was the other one? Transition coaches, right?
Yeah, transition coaches. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that is, those are the people that are, I mean, not that business coaches aren't looking to have big impact. They really are as well. But we really have this desire to like have transformational shift in people's lives. Like that's why we do what we do, right? Like be it financial transformation, or, personal transformation.
We are technically, maybe we are life coaches with a little bit of business in there. That's really
with a lot of business.
A lot of business in there, but we lead with, I want to change your life.
Yeah.
Like, and we do it through business.
Yeah.
Is what it is. So
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, well, it does hit home now. I have better clarity of what you want to deliver with the agency. It's not just like we're going to generate your leads or increase your income. It will definitely impact your life from this different aspect, which means earning back your time and staying at home and enjoying more of your life and your capacities and your, your gifts, and still, having a successful business, but being fulfilled in all the parts of the life, which everybody kind of wants. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, now it makes a lot of sense.
And
definitely,
we really like Christian-based people, because we're very Christian-based, but that's not something we like. And we do talk about that on our website, though. But it's not like, hey, you have to be Christian, but just like that's the type of people we like.
Like I had somebody that I connected with who seemed like she was kind of sort of interested in our services, but she was very much like new agey. She was into tarot reading, and like she did cards. She read cards. She was psychic. Like she was a psychic card reader, and I was just like, doesn't really line up with our beliefs. And while I'm sure what she's doing is great, that's not a message that I want to get out there en masse. So I'm not going to probably take her on as a client, like I'm happy to to help her with some business training, but she's not a long-term type of person that I want to be working with. We want to be working with people who are, you know, either totally neutral in that area and they just don't care, or they align with our beliefs and they're not going in a totally opposite direction of what we believe. So yeah.
Okay, so now I get better understanding of your avatar, at least, you know, like how to research them and how to talk, you know, like even Ellie, when she's sending that message, what we do is like we help life coaches, transformation coaches get this without spending time and money on this, right? Or get to that desired outcome without doing this and this and this and this and this and spending all this time traveling and blah, blah, blah. And how we do it, the strategies you have. Would you be open, you know, like to have a look at that? Because that's how, you know, like if you ask for business, that's how it's going to be, right? So we can definitely connect with them. But my question would be, do you guys feel that would be better we send that initial connection and wait for them to connect, and then we send another organic connection without the software? It will require a little bit more work, but like without the software, the second connection would be, hey, I saw your last post. It really speaks to me, blah, blah, blah. I know we have, you know, like we had a occasion to work on a case like that, or if you have someone from the agency who has leveraged that kind of results, you can connect that and say like, this was what, and just engage in that conversation. And it's not like directly asking for business. And when they reply at the second message, you have like some buffer, and then you can talk about business.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm definitely cool with that. You guys keep going. I gotta go because my husband just got home. But keep going. But I agree with you, Tamara. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it will ask for a little bit of more work, but you know, it's worth it.
Oh, totally. It's totally worth it. So you can answer, Bree. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay.
I will message you guys in a bit. Okay, love you guys. Bye.
No worries, love you, darling. All right, so yeah, no, I agree that's going to be my challenge is that I was finding that what was coming in with Ulink was just so fast and furious, and I think that I had my settings the first time round set to send out too many connections at once, and then I was getting inundated with people, and I couldn't keep up with the because they would reply, and then what the software would do is when they saw a reply, they'd kick it into manual mode, and it would say, okay, now you need to have this conversation because they've obviously given you a personalized response. You need to personalize it back. And that was happening with way too many people. So I wasn't able to, I've actually got a message here from somebody that I just got around to because I've been working up my list from oldest to newest, and he sent his message on the 31st and he said, let's try to have a chat next week. And I haven't even gotten to it because there was just too many of them coming in. So we've turned that off. It's off now, but there's still people coming in, and way too many responses went out, or too many requests went out in the first start. So I think that's the other thing too, is that as a learning lesson for us with this software, we need to pace it, and we can't just go balls to the walls, like let's send out all those connection requests in the beginning. Because if they're not quite the right leads, then you're connecting with a ton of people, and you got to be respectful enough to respond to them and not be a jerk. But at the same time, they're not the people that you really want to be spending time with. So we need to trickle the strategy in the beginning, I think, and maybe you would agree with this, maybe you don't, but I think that in the beginning, start off with maybe, instead of sending out a whole bunch of connection requests at once, limiting it to like 20 per day or something like that, 20 or 30 connection requests that go out, and that's the max. That way you have time to respond to those people that are coming in and accepting, because there's a pretty high acceptance rate. So if you get, say, a 30 to 50% acceptance rate, that's 10 conversations in one day. That can actually be quite time consuming if you do end up having all those conversations. So do you think that that's a good thing for us from our strategy moving forward for people on this management side of things? Do you think that would be good?
When it comes to Dia, or for your clients?
For our clients. I mean, for Dia as well. Yeah. I mean, we're our own client when it comes to this. So
yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to your clients, you have to understand where they are at right now and how much time they have for managing that service, right?
Yeah.
So if they have no time, they better pay you for an assistant who's going to convert those conversations into a booked calendar, right?
Yes.
Because if they don't have time to do that and they don't want to do that, then you have to have an option for that, right?
Yeah.
But for business, when you are really serious and depending on what they're selling, because a life coach probably has a coaching program that they're selling, right? And has some training that they're selling or some kind of affiliate program that they are putting out there on the market. So for them, it's interesting to have those, like conversations. But if they cannot keep up with the tempo, then they definitely, you have to have like an option. Would that be someone from your team, a VI or something that you have trained to convert those conversations into leads? And that would be some, like additional like fee you can ask for your VI, right?
Yeah. And I believe that we do have that as an option for people. I think that the social media lead gen is what, $2K a month. And then to include that part where we warm them up and get them on the call, we'd have to look and see how much time that's, and we might need to do that on an hourly basis even, because that might be something where we say, okay, we have a VA that you can basically hire out, or they need a VA, like, we can hook them up with a VA if they need to or something, but
or even better, yeah, so like that you remove the responsibility of converting their leads.
Because that's the thing, like when you have a VA and you've got a VA working for many different clients, then they need to really understand. They need to be able to basically speak in the voice of that person. Like that's the thing. LinkedIn, as much as it's a place of business, you still need to have your own voice going out there. People will pick up if it's not, if they are having a conversation with somebody who isn't them, So, but then it's the option of saying, okay, well, you can have a VA or you could have a closer that would do it for you, and then we'll point those leads to your closer.
And then you have like someone you can put from your agency and pay those people via the service they get, right? So they will go through the same process, like a conversation with their closer, furnishing a full, like a full script of what are their clients' needs, what their courses do, benefits.
What we're doing now.
Exactly. So what will bring tons of results? It's that you have to like make your people take responsibility for whatever result they want to give, right? So, but even if you're generating leads for them on LinkedIn, or even if you are, like building their funnels, they have to provide you with something that is like a research of the market.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to do the research for them. If yes, you're going to charge them.
Yeah. Which is why the strategy session is a paid strategy session, because that's
why, yeah. So you have to have like the market research inside. They will be like, they don't know how to do it, and you can, guide them through the process.
And maybe they have done that market research, and so maybe that will be a pretty easy thing to go through. But you can always go deeper. You can always, make sure that their message is tied in, and that their offer is exactly dialed in. So okay, yeah, absolutely. So okay, so moving forward, what do you need at this stage? Are we just going to continue to kind of connect with these people and refine our offer, or do research? And as we research, we obviously validate, and perhaps through the validation we'll make some sales. Like that's kind of
so you want to explain the process, maybe what you're doing right now, so like that I'm at the same page, because for now with Ali we were doing completely different stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
So now, because I'm going to take up on the leads that she will create for Dia, so what kind of process you would like me to use in order to qualify these people and get them to that strategy call? Like actually get them to a first closer call where I would tell them 3K strategy, and then give the lead for you guys to take it from there, right?
Right. So I would say that right now, what I'm doing is, in my conversations, I'm just, obviously we'll introduce what we do and who we help, and see if that's something that they want to discuss. And then on that call, I would find out where they are in their journey, and what kind of, exactly what we've kind of been discussing, like what is their marketing, what have they done so far, like what are they bringing in, are they the qualified, that's what the discovery call is, right? Like are we dealing with our target market? Like, okay, what kind of, how many clients do you get per month, and how many do you need, how many do you want, how much do you spend to currently acquire a client, do you spend anything? So asking those basic kind of questions, and we can use that as research for ourselves, you know, and also what I'm doing is, it's hard because when you do market research, like if you're going to do a call specifically for market research, I find that it is a little bit more extensive because it really makes them think about what they are and what they're doing versus selling them the service, which is making them look at their business, you know? So if we sell it as a market research type opportunity, then, or validating our offer, I'm just thinking, what Cameron, when our copywriter did that with us, basically what he did was he presented his sales script. He presented his sales script and he said, you know, and then I'm just going to ask you some questions about this. So first I'm going to read you out the sales script and then I'm going to ask you some questions. And then does any of that resonate with you? If it does, can you go into more detail about it? And then so he was doing his research with his script already done. And then he was validating the offer. And then he said, okay, so if you were to get a service like this, what would you be willing to pay for that? So that was the validation part of it. Now, we don't necessarily, I don't know, what do you think? Do we need to be validating the offer so much, or do we need to be just seeing where they're at?
So there is two different ways to look at this, right? Are we going after clients and booking those calls and understanding really what they get with that strategy of 75 minutes, which is not only social media right now, it's also like having a dive deep into their market, into their offer, understanding their social media content, the lead generation strategies, and finally the automatization process and monetization, right?
Yeah.
So that it's like more than just simple strategy right now. We are talking of something very deep. So are we going directly for the, like getting people, initiating that conversation, asking those couple of qualifying questions in the chat, and then trying to book a call, which is more like to understand their real situation.
Try to go to the friend's house.
Yes, we'll go soon, sweetheart.
And try to sell them on the strategy call, right? Or are you going to like do split testing, let's say, and use some of the context and try to conduct marketing research on them? So, for example, every, 50% of the people you get in your inbox, you offer them the strategy call, and 50% you offer them the marketing research, and how you do that. So
yeah, well, that might be a way to do it, because because this is the thing, offering the marketing research, some people are really willing to help with that, and then other people are like, no, I don't have time for that. So I think I feel like it's one of those things that you kind of have to gauge from the conversation which one they might be more likely to respond from. And that's going to take a little bit of hit and miss, right? Like that's going to take some testing to see, okay, yeah, this person seems like they're very, very easy to communicate with, like they're talking, they're conversational. That would be the person that I would probably offer the market research, because they'd probably be willing to say, oh yeah, I'm happy to help you out with that. But it's the person who's maybe a little bit shorter in the responses. Maybe they're a little bit more concise. Maybe they're a little bit more closed off. Those are the ones that you just say, hey, this is what we do. Are you interested in doing this strategy? Because it's those people that are probably going to be like, nah, I don't want to waste my time doing this right now. I've got other things. I need to be talking to clients. I need to be finding my own business,
So if they spend so much time talking to their clients, they can improve that strategy, right? So yeah. That makes sense. So yeah, I think, it's a gut feeling at the end. You're gonna feel the conversation, go to their profiles. But to get back to that, I would definitely stop the software after, like an initial conversation, until they get your message. You send that hi message, whatever it is, introduction, and then you go on the profiles, study them a little bit more, finding them on other social media and say like, hey, blah, 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 I send you a connection on Facebook. I love what you do. If you cannot find what they're doing right away on LinkedIn, and, start the conversation. I saw you were speaking at this event, and try, it is a lot of work, but it is, worth it, because as a business owner, you have to go after your business. Nobody will come to you.
That's
At the
right.
beginning, yes, right.
Yeah.
So we have been doing so much work for other people, then when it comes to us, it should be, like
Yeah.
no brainer.
Exactly.
Right?
I know
So,
it's so true, and it's easy to sometimes to go after those easy wins where it's like, oh well, I can just point people to this thing and call it good, but and make a commission and call it a day. But this is gonna be something that we need to really build up, and you'll do the same thing with yours. So yeah, okay, cool. So
okay,
let's do
cool.
that. So
Yeah. So now we nailed down more or less the avatar. I just need more like details on their expenses, their pressing points, right?
Yeah.
So more about, I will do as well my own research now that I know who you're after. So like that I have a more understanding of what their pain points are.
Yeah.
But it would be good if we have like a list of all of those things that will generate the right questions on the call.
Yes.
Right? Or in the conversation while we're talking with them. Because if I know that Tamara has what kind of problem, let's say what kind of problem, like lead generation, right? She has this 2K offer, she wants to sell it per month, but she just cannot, find her right market, or she has a couple of clients, but it doesn't know how to move from there. So I would ask questions that say like, hey, how many leads are you getting per month?
Yeah.
Right? How far you are from your goal, right? What have you been doing? So it will generate the right questions if we know their pains.
Yeah. So I'm just going to write a couple of those down. And some of them might not know, because depending on what their organizational structure is, they might not really realize how many leads they're getting per month, but they're knowing that they're not getting the business that they need, So how many leads do you get per month? What is the lifetime value of a client for you? That's, I think, important. How much do you currently spend to acquire a client?
Yes.
I had a coach, and she was spending $800 to acquire a client that was worth $3,000. I felt like that was a bit high, but she seemed to think that was pretty good, which was interesting. Like, and are you happy with that? I guess that's the next thing. Like, are you happy with this? And she knew a lot about the metrics of her business. She actually did know how much it was costing her to acquire each client. She wanted a more do-it-yourself kind of thing. She didn't want to let go of the control of marketing. She wanted a plug-and-play funnel that she could, plug in and just do her thing, and interesting things like that. So I was like, okay. So she wasn't quite our target market, but it was interesting that she was she knew a lot about her business, which is good. So are you happy with this? What is your biggest frustration when it comes to making sales, acquiring clients, maybe?
Selling, if I know that they have a coaching program, selling or like getting people into your coaching program because it's specific to them, it talks to them, right?
Yeah. Acquiring clients /
if I ask you, Bree, how many, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to getting people on the strategy monthly, right?
Yeah.
You speak directly to them, yeah.
Yeah, selling your program / okay. And then I guess that means we should probably figure out what their primary offer is. Like what?
Absolutely, yes. If you don't understand what their business is, it's very, very difficult to go further. So the principles in sales, it's like understanding where they are at, what exactly they're doing, what is the situation, like in selling, but in a higher level, right? Now it's understanding really their business. So understanding where they are, where they want to be, what is the gap, and what's been affected in their lives. Because they will not buy if we are talking only about financial aspects, right? So we have to get that conversation to the level to understand what parts of their lives have been affected, right? Mm-hmm. Because they have this kind of crazy hours they work on, or they're like all the time in front of the computer, or they spend. I had like once I talked with a health coach, and she was like spending like 8 hours per week or more talking to her clients, and they were paying her like $250 per month. And I feel like, you're crazy, like you will never make money with that, right? So you gotta be, you have to understand what's happening in their business.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to put this in parentheses. Where are you now, and where do you want to be? Okay. How many leads do you get per month? What is the lifetime value of a client for you? How much do you currently spend to acquire a client? Are you happy with this? And what is your biggest frustration when it comes to acquiring clients, selling your program? Whatever it might be. Selling your service.
Because what kind of business she has? If she has like one-on-one coaching, does she have like training or membership program, or what is it, right?
Exactly.
Is it an event? Is it a brainstorm, whatever, mastermind, whatever they have, right?
Yeah. Tailored
to
their core offer.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions that we can ask them that will help us? So what is the biggest frustration? So that's going to be the keywords of how they feel, the pains. We've got their goals.
The gap on the income, where they are, where they want to be. Yeah.
So that's going to be what's the delta? So the delta.
And also, what else we can say?
What are they motivated by? This is the other thing too. Like what motivates them? This was a thing that I asked the guy, because he was absolutely not motivated by income. He actually was not interested at all in building his coaching business from an income standpoint. He had income coming in from a billion other streams of income. So he doesn't need to do coaching because of the income. He wants to do it because of the impact that it'll have. So that would be what is your motivation for your business,
And that's where you're gonna dive deep. If they say like, hey, I want to have more time or make more impact, you're talking to leadership, you're talking to people who are like more driven for contribution than just financial, and that's very high. That's like very, very emotional trigger.
Yeah.
That's very, like a lot of people, and I believe you, Ali, myself, Rebecca, we are not just driven by the financial impact of what we are doing. It's just like, it's more than, you girls just want to change people's lives and give them, like the options.
Yeah. So time freedom, financial growth,
contribution, impact, all these triggers.
Impact, contribution,
transformation,
etc.
Like you ladies, that's also.
Okay, cool.
But that's something important.
How many leads do you get? What's lifetime value? What do you currently spend? What is your biggest frustration when it comes to acquiring them? What else do we need? So we've got fears. Do we want to ask about that? Like, what are they afraid of, or is that?
Wait, just life coaches. So where they are, where they want to be, what is the gap, what has been affected, how much they spend. Did you put that? Yes.
Yep.
What else they have tried? Yes.
Sorry, what was the last one?
What else have they tried to?
Yes. Okay, good.
What are they doing? What they have been doing to generate business, right?
And what kind of results
that has yelled? Yes. And what did that cost them? Was it time, money, frustration? Like, what was the effect of that? Because if you tell me I was ripping my hair off, like like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that.
Family balance, etc.
So that we can like make a preliminary script. I met a lady that she makes like scripts for businesses.
Yeah.
And that was very cool. Like I will talk to her again next week, and she was like very, very cool. She does like the cold scripts and the warm script, inbound marketing scripts.
Mm-hmm.
And I would pick her brain again and see what she's doing. But it seems like very interesting for business owners.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know where to start and to nail down your sales, she's like 20 years in sales or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of cool, I think.
That's cool. Yeah, definitely. Okay.
I will pick her brain and see what she's got next week and understand more how she does that.
Excellent. All right. And I will
Okay.
save this.
Mhm.
Where should
Yeah.
I'll put it
If we
into
have like
Zoom.
a preliminary sales script, like just understanding their like the questions will lead to the sales, and the questions have to be connected with what Dea does, right? So, and now the challenge for us is to really nail down what would the strategy be about, because
Yeah.
we don't have a like total video in explaining what's happening inside, right?
Right. And that's because we've just kind of had to shift it. And that's the thing. I guess that's what we really have to be aware of, is that we're tweaking. We're constantly tweaking. And this is why I'm hesitant to have a lot of videos and things like that, because Beck puts all this time and energy into creating these videos and editing and da 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 da, and then we change them on her, and we're like, no, we're not doing this group anymore. Oh, we're changing this. Oh, we're changing that. So, so perhaps it just needs to be a document or a part of the slide presentation that we do, where it's almost like a script for us as we're having conversations with people, that we say, well, this is what, because we're only going to be booking these strategy calls once we've had a conversation with somebody. So in the conversation, this is what we do, and we need to really nail down our blurb of and it needs to be basically the elevator pitch. Like, what is our elevator pitch? Why do people want to book the strategy? And it's interesting. Our coach, Sam, he said, he was like, the problem with offering lead gen as a service and leading with the lead gen is, he said, I don't work with anybody who doesn't do a strategy session. And he said, and the reason is because if they're unwilling to take a really, really solid look at their business to see where the holes are and what the problems are, he said, I could pump all the traffic in the world to their business, but it's not going to sell and convert, and they're going to be unhappy. So he said the strategy is so important because you really need to understand their offer. You need to understand what they've been putting out there so far, and like their website. And he said, sometimes it's just a simple, like, maybe their website is amazing, maybe their website is designed perfectly to get people to take action and buy, but their message to market match is wrong. So he said the people that aren't willing to do strategy, they're not the ones that he wants to work with, because they just want a quick fix. And so I thought that was a good way to kind of look at it and say, okay, I want people who are willing to work with me. And that's what we're doing, is we're the guide, we're the Yoda, we're helping. We're not just going to give you, and that's, I think, the risk that we were running into, is that we had this kind of cookie cutter thing, and we're like, oh, it's fantastic, and that's great. And yes, it is a strategy that we can roll out, but that's not what the strategy session needs to be. The strategy session needs to be a deep dive into their business. So yeah.
Yes. And that makes sense to me, Brie, because, first of all, you will have people who are serious. But my only question is how you're going to connect this strategy, where you're diving deep into that. It's like not only diagnosing the problem now. You're going to find out that they have like zero or very low a not working way of generating leads. Or maybe their funnels are, not very well copied, or whatever it is, or maybe their offer, I definitely think, guys, that's another chapter. You have to think about offer optimization.
Yeah.
To add that to the agency, right? But maybe their offer, it's not on the top, or whatever it is, or their social media strategy, it's like failing them. So once you get there, it will be difficult to give them something in return without selling them on the service, which of course is the goal of the agency, to sell them on the service, right? But for them not to feel like, okay, you diagnosed my problem and now I'm like supposed to spend more money with you, right? So how Yeah, you understand what I mean.
Yeah, and that was where I came apart and I said, okay, what do people walk away with feeling good about? You know, like what do they walk away and say that was worth it? And it was interesting because Sam also said that he's had strategy sessions. He said where people will walk away and realize that they are completely in the wrong thing and their business is just they don't love it or they're not passionate or they don't even have the right structure and they just wipe it and they start over. And he said that comes out of a really deep dive strategy session. Some people have like big heart checks and they realize that they actually aren't in it for the right reasons and all these things. And he said, so he said that the value of a strategy session, even if you don't give them a single thing like physical to walk away with, the value is what they're learning about their business in the process. And he said that's invaluable. Like that's really like valuable lessons learned for people. We do still want to give them something that they can walk away with, but the question is, what is that? And is that the social media content rollout? Is that the calendar? I don't think that that's a bad thing. Bex put a ton of energy and effort into doing that. So I don't see why we couldn't use that as a way of saying, okay, well, maybe you don't have the time and the energy to, well, this is where our coaching kind of came in. And this is where he said, okay, so even if they don't have the money to build a huge, like spend a few $1,000s with you, which they should, because we really should be figuring out, but if they're not willing to spend a couple of $1,000s to optimize their website, or maybe a few $1,000s or even a few $100s in some coaching sessions to optimize their offer optimization, which I can do because I've been through a coaching program that teaches you how to create offers. So I could take that knowledge and I could be the offer optimization coach, right? Hey, Ayla?
Yeah.
So we can offer that and we can say, okay, look, your offer is the problem here. Let's go forward and let's do some coaching sessions and let's work out how to optimize your offer. Or look, your website's the problem. Like this is a huge problem. If you can, maybe the leads are a problem too, but if we can put the money into getting you a decent little website, then we can you can take this content calendar, look at this beautiful strategy, you can take it and start to generate some organic traffic. You don't have to do all of those things, but look, you can start doing Facebook Lives. Look, you can start doing some YouTube videos. Look, you can maybe start a podcast and point them to this beautiful website which we've helped you create. So we either create it for you, or again, coaching services, we can sell them. So what the platform is it's actually way easier to use than ClickFunnels. It's got way more capacity than ClickFunnels. And they're doing two price points to vary what people will spend per month. So there's one that's $250 a month, and that's like the full shebang. It's got the email to go out. It's like the top level of ClickFunnels, right? But it's got so much more built into it, CRMs, all this kind of crazy stuff. It's going to be integrated with this other thing that they're building called Sanity Desk. It's massive. It's crazy. So that's $250 a month. But if they don't even want to spend that, maybe they want to do their own website and they want to build it themselves. They don't want to, he's like, I don't want to be encouraging people to go over to ClickFunnels because ClickFunnels is a pain in the butt to use. He said, I want them to come over here and use our software. So then we can say, okay, come over here, build it on this platform, and we'll coach you on it. We'll show you how to build it on this website. And so then we can help them with that. And they'll say, oh, okay, you need a copywriter? Great, we have that. We can help you out with some copy. Oh, you don't want to do that? You want us to just take a look at it? Well, we can have our copywriters review it for you. You can write your copy and our copywriters will take a look at it. I don't think that anybody's going to come out of a strategy session and think that there's nothing that they're going to need to invest further to make their business, like that they're going to be able to do it all themselves perfectly. I think they're going to need some help along the way.
Yes, and that's my point, right? So they have to understand that in the strategy, and that's why, taking them to pay for the strategy, it's one thing, right? And then having that, how can I say, like, confidence that the strategy will bring them clarity and will get them, get them connect the dots faster. So they will estimate if they will be able to do that by themselves. But, when someone has been in the same position for 3 years and all of a sudden magically something happens overnight and they start to generate leads and sell products, well, that's not how things work. Without the guidance, they won't be able to do that. So
Yeah.
the strategy will actually help them connect the dots
Yeah.
and see what are the leaking buckets. And for every diagnosed problem, there will be adequate solution. They can, like decide to use or not, but they know that there is a solution.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
perfect. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. So now when I go, for example, let's decide like this. It will take some more time, right? But we start, Ellie will program the software to go and look for these life coaches, transformation coaches, mindset coaches, and transition coaches, right? So she will go and she will say like, okay, like we have mutual connections, blah, 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 happy to connect with you, right? And we wait till they answer the first message. And then we have like pre-prepared, but more like organic message. It's not the software, like in the next 24 hours or 12 hours, if possible, we can go and like check them on social media, see who they are, find something that it talks to them and it's important to them, because if they put it on social media, it's important to them, and take that as a starting conversation. So like, hey, I went on your profile, blah, 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 I found this and resonate, and start the conversation, and they will be more likely to answer that. And then start to dive deeper, asking a little bit more questions, and ask them, like if they're open to get to that session. And in the conversations, like, hey, I would really, with that being said, I want to tell you what we do, blah, blah, blah. Would you be open to have that conversation? And then get them on the really closing session to close them for the strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect.
If we have a process and then we just like know what are we can write this down, right? So we can have this process and it will be something that we can follow every time and start from there and tweak it.
Yep, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I'll do is I'll put this preliminary market research script into the Google Drive.
Cool.
I'll do that, and then I will link it in Monday.com so that we've got a place for it that's easy for all of us to find, and that should be good. So I'll just pull open Drive now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can also please add this on YouTube or whatever. Yeah. Like I did, and share the link. Maybe I should also share the link in the Monday that we had the first strategy.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
Yeah. So like
that way we just kind of have a library of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and we know what we were talking about, and we can always go and revise and take it from there.
Yep, exactly. Okay, that sounds good. I will get this uploaded. Hopefully I'll be able to get it up to YouTube before I go. It just depends on how long it takes to render this. So all right, cool. Thank you so much. It was so good. How are you doing, by the way? I'm gonna stop recording and just take this off now.
Yeah, cool. Yep.
Hang on.
I'll let you